Paul Pierce and Azul Farad. You guys remember for this page? You guys remember Azul Farad? She was interviewed by Camp, I think, twice already. She has a podcast called The Truth After Dark. This is Paul Pierce podcast. Yes, that Paul Pierce, and they had Joy Taylor as a special guest on the show. Interesting enough, Wise Wrestling Wednesday Live. I'm sorry, y'all. We're going to build it as we fly it because Wise Wrestling Wednesday Live. Hey, you guys. And thank you guys for tuning in to Wrestling Wednesday. That's me and Cellulite's show that we do on wrestling, everything wrestling. So when you guys get the chance, go subscribe to the channel. But let's get back into this. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and ping the link. Now, Joy Taylor. What do we know about Joy Taylor in the last year? A lot. More than I care to know about her. I'll say that much. With Joy Taylor going on her promo run or whatever, or just living her life, trying to get out of the spotlight. Oh, it's on IG. Shout out to my guy Eddie Grant. I knew him since high school. Thank you. Pull it up, my guy. Now, with Joy Taylor, I almost called her Joy Grant. Joy Taylor decided to go on a podcast. Give me what I already know about her. I'm like, every time I see her, it's always something. It's to the point where it's like, this is getting tiring. But it's like, you know what? Let me give this woman a chance. Eclipse started spiraling. All links are located in the description, by the way. We're going to play the video of what started this entire situation. So, is this it? Yep, this is it. For those who don't know, here is what Joy Taylor said on The Truth After Dark.
What else is non-negotiable for you?
I'm less and less interested in religious men, if I'm being honest with you. I told Paul this the other day. I don't know. You hit me with the man of God thing.
But you say God a lot on your podcast.
God?
Yeah, you be like, God, oh my God.
Oh my God. No.
Oh my God is different.
Oh my God is different than being a man of God. If you're leading, I don't know. I've just had some. I've had some negative experiences with people that lead with their religion.
Are you religious?
Not really.
No.
So I would say I'm a person of faith, but I'm not. Okay. I was raised in a Baptist church, very, very religious family. I don't think that just because you're a Christian that you are, not living a good life. I'm just saying, if that's the first thing that you bring to the table, it's a red flag for me because I don't
they're hiding behind their religion.
I don't care. Why? What does this matter to me?
Something happened with that before. That's what that happened.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
You might have a trigger behind that.
I do.
Sure. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Yeah. I'm acknowledging. I'm triggered by this, and it's become a red flag for me. Wow. I'm not saying that if you believe in God that you are a red flag. I also don't give a so just tell somebody else about it. I think for some men they think that that's what women are looking for, looking for a good Christian man.
Yeah,
and some people are, but just not me. So,
what else is non-negotiable for you?
A lot of technical errors over there. Okay, so all right, so there y'all go. Men are a red flag for her, and in context, if we have to go over the video again, we'll do that. Be advised, we are broadcasting live from YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and now TikTok as well. So let's continue. Context. She's talking about religious men who are of a religion. And not only that, she's also talking about her past, because some people manipulated religion against her. It has what's what I want to look for? Tainted her view of man of God or a religious man. She said that's a red flag. Now, some people are wondering, what am I focused on? I'm focused on both sides. Some people want me to talk about one side and only one. That is, what they don't know is that they are actually being counterproductive to the problem of doing that. I have to address both sides of this problem for it to be fixed. So with doing that, let's actually get into the education of this. Now, what is a man of God? And TikTok I'm watching, you guys can put it in the chat. You guys can put it in the chat as well. And those on IG Live can put their, Mimi, what's up? How y'all doing? And y'all, I won't spoil anything, but there is something coming away. I got at least 2 commercials coming out real soon. I'll leave it at that. What is a man of God? What is a man of God? Or better, what do you think a man of God is? Up to you. Because I know people got different definitions of what this could mean. I just want to know, what do you think a man of God is? If you had to define it, what is it? That's what I would like to know. Because sorry, that was the thunder. That was a loud thunder, like directly above my house. But anywho, sorry. What is a man of God, ladies and gentlemen? Well, hey, did I put this in the? I hope I put this in the. Did I do this correctly? $5 said I didn't do it correctly. Of course I did it. Returning to the show, a friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Bolo. Bolo, what's good, man?
What's going on, my G?
Chilling, man. I've been wanting to talk about this topic. I just put it off, but give me what was going on today. It's like I better speak on it.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you while you're here, Bolo, what is a man of God? What does that mean?
Well, it depends on the context and where you're coming from, right? So if you're looking from the scriptures, scripturally speaking, it would be a man devoted to God or a religious leader or prophet, right?
Correct.
Well, let me take the religious leader away. A devoted man to God or prophet. If you're talking about today, you're talking about a man that is obedient to God's word and does his best to live a righteous life.
Mm-hmm. So, and by the way, that is technically the I would say I'm not gonna say the correct answer, although I will be apropos to say that, but I know everybody have their own definition. I will agree with that. Somebody who is actually devoted to God.
Correct.
That's what a man of God is. Meaning they want to, and they are attempting, and they are practicing to live their life that is pleasing to Him.
Correct.
So it starts before they can hold anybody else accountable. That it starts with them.
Correct.
That's what a man of God is.
Correct.
Now, with her saying all these men are red flags, everybody's entitled to their own preference in the dating market. Whether they choose to entertain the dating market is up to them, even more so their own preferences. But when she says they're red flags, of course that has everything to do with how some men in the past were manipulators. Now, I want to ask you, even in 2025, why are people still running with the narrative that this blanket covers all Christians or all believers, without just, I guess, doing the work to realize this is an individual acts that are happening across the board?
But it's easier to generalize than it is to be specific. Right? It's kind of sort of a protective mechanism. right? So if a certain type of woman hurts me, it's easier to make a conglomerate, make a big group of women to protect myself subconsciously and from those types of women, opposed to, looking at myself and seeing where I was in the moment and why was it that this woman was able to penetrate my garrison and was able to pass my vetting, so forth and so on. Because it's easier to blame everybody else, and it's harder to look at yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
There's blame, there's enough blame to go all over the place. However, when you don't hold yourself accountable and there's no self-introspection, the process in blaming someone, it's different than when you're coming from the understanding of where you played dysfunction first, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense, because someone wanted me to focus on the wolves in sheep clothing, as Matthew 7:15 will state.
Okay.
They want me to focus on the wolves and only the wolves, and I'm like, no.
You can't just focus on the wolves.
Huh?
You can't focus just on the wolves.
Right. Somebody I was talking to wanted me to do that, or suggested for me to do that, and I told her, no, there's two sides to this story. Yes, the wolves have to be addressed. However, the other side is when it comes to being a victim, because they are victims, we can openly admit that. Women, men, when they fall victim to, or victimized by church leaders, the deacons, or whatever, going down the list. Yes, they are victims. However, when it comes to being hurt, what do? We go to the hospital to get patched up, to get sewed up, to make ourselves better. People are comfortable getting hurt, staying hurt, and stay blaming the wolves without fixing the problem.
And that's the point. The point of the matter is, again, if we're looking at it from the perspective of the wolf is looking for weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a tandem dance between the wolf and the prey. When you look at these churches, these mega churches, these men and women, they're willing participants in the madness. We're speaking generally, right?
Right.
They're willing participants. Now, are there a minority that isn't? Absolutely. But the majority of them don't open up their word and read it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
When you have these little computers in your pocket, and you're able to have every translation of the Bible that is out, and they still hear the madness that these reverends, pastors, priests, whatever you want to call them, taking the word and perverting it, and they continue to give their last. Under the covenant of Christ, there's no more tithing. You tithe how you want to tithe.
Mm-hmm.
10% is dead, right? But these guys are pushing the narrative that the more you tithe, the more blessings you get. That's not scriptural.
Right.
So people are not reading. So when you look at the blame, because someone has to take the blame, I'm going to blame you. And again, I can't earnestly and honestly learn if I don't hold myself accountable when it comes to the word. Now, I understand there are going to be people that's going to teach. There's people that are more learned than I. But I still have to hold myself accountable and say, okay, so what Christopher J teaches me, let me go and meditate on it and read to see if it matches up. I'm not just going to take what you say and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an accountability on both ends.
No, I agree. And that has always been my go-to, well, how I move. I'm willing to attack the person that is stabbing you, but I also need to attend to the person that is stabbed and sew them up. See, and that's why me personally, this is why I'm just like a hater, whatever way people want to use. People want me to focus on one side and keep it simple. I said no, because if you want me to focus on one side, then that means you don't want resolution. You're comfortable with wearing the jacket of being the victim, and you're having trouble taking it off. And you'll dare tear anybody to shreds if they try to take it off you. And I was like, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I'm just going to do the right thing, and I'm gonna make sure both sides get addressed. That's what I wanted to do today.
Well, that's a good perspective to come from, right? So even I saw the video that you played of the young lady. That is such a blatant and broad statement to make, right? Because she's speaking anecdotally. She's speaking from a subjective perspective, not an objective perspective.
Right.
So my thing would be, how did you get manipulated in the word? Did you do the math? Did you study the word? You say you're a spiritual person. How does that work? People throw this statement around, I'm spiritual. What the hell does that mean? To me, that means that you just want to be able to do what the hell you want to do, because there is a definition to being spiritual and to being a believer in the scriptures. So when you ask that person to, put a title on it. Now, I'm not telling you need to be a Christian, because I'm not a Christian, right? I'm a believer. I don't follow the religious perspectives that, Christianity pushes, because it's just man's contextual breakdown of control.
Right.
So when you ask her, and I'm surprised that they didn't press her on it just a little bit, ask her further, she doesn't give context. They don't give context. So they make these blatant statements and there's no context given. So it's left open-ended, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. And of course they could have pushed more, but I don't think I think they didn't want to change the dynamic of the podcast. So they wanted to keep her comfortable and not they just want to tiptoe around the guest. So I believe that's what that was. But it was very much anecdotal, and everybody's entitled to their own experience. But they need to understand that you need to be responsible with your words. Now, I will give her credit. She did say it was religion. She did say it was something that happened to her. She did say she was triggered. I will give kudos for her to being open enough to saying that. But now that you have addressed the problem, what are you going to do to fix it? And the only if people are going to say, why am I getting on her like this? Because she's a human being, and I'm only doing what has been done to me for 37 years of counting. Unless somebody's going to tell me, somebody did you, that was wrong with you been for 37 years, but I think as adults we know better. If there was something done wrong, I had to surveillance the area, figure out what I did wrong, figure out what they did wrong as well, and see what can I do to avoid this. And I think the best thing to do is being spiritual creatures, as she said. And I like what you said, because I 1000% agree with you with what you said. If you are spiritual, like you said, now I gotta hold you accountable and say, if you're spiritual, what was your relationship with God? It's my show, I'll say it. If you are spiritual, like you said, what was your relationship with God like that you didn't see these red signs earlier?
And here's the thing. Sometimes you may not see it. Sometimes you may not see it. And, we had a conversation this morning. And the conversation that we had this morning, it was never meant for man to learn from experience, right? Scripture says that we hear by faith. It was supposed to be, God tells you something, you believe it, you move on. It was never meant for us to actually have to go through the experience, but through the fall of man, we go through the experience. We have to go through it in most situations. So sometimes, you're going to go through the experience, because again, every lesson you go through is not always for Chris. It may, you may go through it because the Lord may want you to be a beacon of light to lead other men and lead other women. So again, my thing with her would be, what did you learn? Right? I have something called AAA, right? And you have acknowledgement, acceptance, and application. Acknowledgement. What part did I play in to get me to the position that I'm in today? Right? Because we always talk about the effect. We never talk about the cause. What caused the effect? Because without the cause, you can't have the effect.
Right.
Now, acceptance is the ramification of the decisions that I've made. And in between acknowledgement and acceptance is the learning curve, right? Is growth. And we know that there's no comfortability in growth. You're traversing new topography, new landscape, and it's new. It's not nothing that you've ever seen before. And the man that you came in is not the man that you leave. And this is where the last application, whatever you learned, you apply it to your life. And now you understand it, because life is meant to be lived forward but understood backward. So.
Right. And I agree with that, and I appreciate that, because I've been struggling with people all day behind this, and it's like, sometimes I would think that I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the crazy one, and maybe I'm just wrong. Now, usually I need to just rely on something to tell me, you're right. It's just going to take time for it to get there, because I was thinking, like, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, or maybe this person has a point. But I'm glad you came and said what you said, because I guess I just need to be reminded of, like, sometimes I just gotta rely on faith that the God-given wisdom that He gave me, I need to learn to utilize that more, especially dealing with topics like this.
Yeah. It's very important, because when the Lord tells you get knowledge, get wisdom, but with all that getting, get understanding, what was He talking about? Because He was talking about the application of that knowledge and wisdom. That's what's important. And that's where a lot of us fail, right? Where we fail is being able to deliver knowledge and wisdom. Being able to present this information in a way that you can receive it, right? Because like what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
If I took pizza and put it on the back of a garbage can lid, would you eat it?
No.
If I got you some new pizza and put it on the finest china that I could find, would you eat it?
Yes.
What's the difference?
The lid and the presentation.
That's it. Presentation is important. Now, there are situations where presentation doesn't matter. If Chris is crossing the street and the car's coming to hit him, hey Chris, get the hell out! I'm gonna scream at you. You ain't worried about presentation. Right. What you're doing is, and I think presentation still matters, because you're listening to the inflection of my voice and the intensity of my voice, and that right there will heighten you, kick your amygdala into the fight, the flight or flight, and then you're going to turn around and hear what I say and then do what you need to do. However, a lot of the times we don't have empathy when we're delivering these messages. This is why the Lord says, listen, so that you know how to respond, not react. Because you don't know where that person might be. A lot of the times it may not be a situation where Chris calls Bolo and Bolo is ready to activate and give him breakdowns. Sometimes Chris may just want to just vent, and we have to be astute enough to know the difference, because again, if your cup is already overfull, it's already overflowing, anything I pour into that cup is just going to flow over the sides. So I have to let you get some of it out so that whatever I put in stays. And that's the point. Being able to meet someone where they're at, understand where they're at, and tailor make that word for them so that they can receive it.
No, I agree, and I do appreciate that. Now, I wanted to. I brought it up earlier. Matthew 7:15, where on the King James version, ladies and gentlemen, beware of false prophets, which comes to you in sheep's clothing, be inwardly they are ravening wolves. Now, to Joy's situation, she came across some false prophets who was dressed up in sheep clothing, and they were actually predators
Right.
on the inside. This is why Jesus, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a Jesus quote. This is not a Paul quote. This is not a Moses quote. This is a Jesus quote. Beware of false prophets. They will come to you in sheep clothing, but these are predators on the inside. That was a paraphrase, by the way. That I just said. This is why. Because when you are attacked when you come across false prophets and you believe in them, they're going to warp your whole entire view of how you see men of God, or how you see God himself. Now Joy, in this case, granted, she said she was a spiritual person, although I honestly believe that's just code for I just want to do whatever I want to do outside of religion. Because of her view, she don't trust anything that's tied to God. Because of that, because she gave in. Jesus is warning you. If you want the remedy, Jesus is telling you, beware of them. And the question is, how are you going to be aware of something you don't see coming? Which is a fair question. So, what are the traits of a man of God? We spoke about it earlier. A man that's devoted to prayer and scripture. That's number one. Number two, humble and obedient to God's will. Number three, honest, just, and compassionate. Number four, a spiritual leader and a moral example. Here's the thing. When you guys have these conversations with people, it's good to say all of that. It's real good to say all of that. Can you tell me if the words and if their movement are all in accord? Are they moving at one? Meaning everything I say, I can show you in my actions. That's the quickest way for you to rule out bad actors, especially if you let time go by to see are they really men of God, or these are the wolves that are in sheep clothing that Jesus told me about X amount of years ago. Your actions have to match your words. Me personally, I do little to no talking anyway, which is why y'all don't see me stream that much. I let my actions do the talking. I'm confident of, if you see my movement, this is what Christopher J is gonna do. You can listen to my words, that's fine. I strongly suggest you watch my movement, because what he does is who he is. So watch my movement, or watch the movement more so than what people say, because that's how you can determine if there is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Butler, what do you think on that?
I mean, I agree with you, but here's the caveat to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me to know that that's a man or a woman in wolves in sheep's clothing, I have to do my homework, and I have to have a connection to the Father, and that's the point. So when the Lord is telling you beware, telling you, listen, man, I'm giving you all of the hints, all of the directions to understand what to look for. Now you have to apply it, right? And a lot of the times people don't apply it. They just say it and they don't use it. And that's the problem, right? It's still theory. It's not fact in their eyes. And that's the difference. People, when they stand firm in the Father or in whatever they believe, that it's not theory with them anymore. I've taken it out of the lab. I've gone into the real world. I've seen it work. This works. And they stand firm and walk in it. So when you come to somebody, my thing is, I welcome it, because I'm going to ask the questions, because I'm going to prove what you are, so that I make sure I understand who and what you are. So I'm going to ask the questions, and like you said, I'm going to see if the actions, meet what you say. Because again, anybody can say anything. And what does the Lord say? You can tell a tree by the fruits it bear.
Mm-hmm.
you know if a person is found. Now again, doesn't mean that you don't slip, doesn't mean that you don't fall. It just means that you do your best to try and live as close to a righteous life as you can as man or woman on this earth. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. The onus is on you and I to do the math, to understand what's going on, so that we can have some type of inclination of our footsteps and walk circumspectly in this world that we understand is a spiritual world. Because remember, our fight is not carnal, it's spiritual, and we have to understand that.
Right, we 100% not to understand. I do agree, and also to people who's listening. Like I said earlier, because they didn't want me to address her at all. They just want me to focus on the wolves. They want me to just focus on the wolves and the wolves alone. I want to say this as believers, we cannot be afraid of accountability. We absolutely cannot be afraid of accountability. If anything, I believe we should embrace it, because if anything, it's going to make us better. Like I said, I have 37 years of accountability, where when things were done wrong to me, I had to find out what part did I play in that situation, so that way I can make sure if come across that situation again, I don't make the same mistake. So we're not denigrating Joy Taylor. We're offering the Joy Taylors of the world. Let me say that, because I'm just not talking to her directly. Those who have had a running in with bad faith actors, as I call them. Hey, it's time to heal. It's time to heal. It's time to stop holding on to that hurt, which is a thought process that I had earlier today while doing this. So I had to type it out. And is it playing on the ticker? Let's see. Where is that? Okay, here it is. Here's my thought process. It's time to cast off the cloak of complacency. You've been warped in false narratives, one forged in the unresolved moments of your past, and you've allowed it to define your presence. This is not just laziness, it's a willful neglect of truth. Yes, there are wolves in disguise. Those who twist scripture speak well and appears righteous, but understand this: a true man of God will reveal himself not merely by eloquence, but by the integrity of his walk. When discernment by words fails, discern by the fruit of the life surrendered to God. Wake up. The call to transformation cannot be answered by someone hiding in the comfort of excuses. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? It's real simple. Take off the coat of being a victim. It's time. In 2025, it's time, and it's okay. It's okay to not be a victim anymore. Matter of fact, it is okay to take the power that was stolen from you, take it back. The wolf wants you to remain a victim because you feel like what Rolla said earlier, you're an easy target. That's why I have trouble dealing with victims, but I had to go to a level of maturity and understanding they're like that for a reason. So with patience and love, of course, because I'm doing this out of love. Otherwise, I'd be outside making some money right now.
Yeah, well, if you can dumb it down a little bit and understand that, what we've gone through in our past, if you don't confront it and learn the lessons that are in that pain, then that's a failure, right? When you learn what you need to learn from the experiences that you've had in your past and the traumas that you've had, and you've learned and you've grown from it, and you're a better man or a better woman from it, that's called a life experience. It's not a failure. So what happens is with the enemy, he doesn't want you to learn the lesson. That's the point. He wants you wrapped up in the emotionality of it. Now, again, the Lord gives us grace and mercy for us to be pissed off, angry, sad, right? He tells you, be angry and sin not. What does that mean? When he says be angry and sin not, that means that at the height of your pissosity, don't make any valid decisions. Oh, I'm upset, I'm pissed off. Cool. Now, when that anger, now that I can see clearly, because when you just have it happened or whatever happens to you, all you see is red, right? When you're able to see color again, that doesn't change the fact that you're still angry. The fact of the matter is you can think clearly. That's the point. You can think clearly. You're not at that point where you're so angry and you're moving in the emotion of anger, opposed to moving in the logistical thought process that's making you angry. And there's a difference between the two. And so often in this world, we wrap truth, everything is feelings now, right? If it doesn't feel right, it isn't truth. So we have to understand that truth is not going to feel good all the time. We have to understand that. So it's like the story of Joseph. Here it is, a kid that was sold into slavery by his brothers, did nothing wrong, and then accused of sleeping with the woman that he didn't sleep with.
Right.
Now, he could have stayed angry. He could have stayed pissed off, but then he wouldn't have been the man that he was when his family came to him. And he said, so the point of the matter is you can stay stuck where you're at and stay emotionally stunted and logistically stunted, or you can learn from it and become the man or the woman that the Lord needs you to be, because we're so focused on the destination. The destination is the destination. You're going to get there. What we need to focus more on is the journey. The journey is more important, because the journey is what prepares you for the destination.
Right. No, that is all facts. That is all facts. Especially the journey, and me personally, I enjoy the. I don't know if this is weird to say, but I'm a person where I enjoy the journey more so than the destination, because it's going to make me better as a man, make me better as a believer, make me better in all these other aspects in life, because there's an opportunity for growth. So I know I'm going to reach my destination eventually, but there's something about being a better person, being stronger. So even to the point where the adversary, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and try again, because those same old tricks will not work again. I won't mention that. I'll keep them offline. All I gotta say is there's something about going to that journey that is liberating and fulfilling. So you're absolutely correct on that.
And it's a beautiful thing, man, when you go through the journey and you're able to see. Listen, if the mountain was smooth, we would never be able to climb it.
Nope, not at all.
Every mark on anyone's body has a story to tell.
Yes.
It's a story of growth, right? Some marks you're going to be able to remember everything that happens vividly, and you're going to tell your grandchildren. Let me tell you something. See this mark right here on my arm? This is when, and it's a growth. It's growth from it. If everything is okay, here's the thing. I watch a television show called Forged in the Fire. I don't know if you watch it, but it's a good show. And it's about blacksmiths crafting knives or swords or whatever. And a lot of the time, the people are so caught up in the beauty of the sword, right? The sharpness of it, the length of it, making sure that the shaft has the right handle. They're looking at the different types of materials. And sometimes, being constrained with time, they forget to temper it. Tempering is very important, because if you don't temper that sword, it's weak. Right. It's brittle. So you can make something as pretty as you want. If it's not strong from the inside out, it will break. And that's what's important with the Lord. It's not the outside. It's the inside the Lord is dealing with. Because the outside will follow. But he's tempering your spirit to make you strong, so that when you get to that destination, you're able to stand up to the wiles of the devil.
That's a fact. Hey, what's that show called?
Forged in Fire.
Forged in Fire. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna
Awesome show, man. Awesome show.
All right, good. I'm gonna definitely look into that. Appreciate it. And also, well, we'll get into that later because I do want to say I appreciate you coming up here because
thank you, brother.
Sometimes, see, I'm never too proud to say there are people who are smarter, who are more educated than me in this, and who can me as a believer that I know I still need guidance. So it's always good to always refer to people who's been at this a long time. So I can always refer to you like, hey, my brother, I might need your help on this one because I may take this down the wrong path, and I'm not trying to do that.
I'm here with you.
Yes, sir. Now, I do want to throw out a Bible verse to the wolves in clothing. It's real simple. Matthew 18:6. Which version do I want to read? Well, we did King James. We can say this on King James. Well, whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believes in me, it were better for him that a milestone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Very simple. For those who are misusing God's word, who are manipulating God's children, there is a punishment for you down the road. So it could be literal, it can be figuratively speaking, but pretty much I'm about me personally as a believer. I'm tired of you guys thinking that God is soft.
That's literal.
I really am.
Well, that's literal. That's not figuratively speaking.
No, I like it because I tell people stop thinking God is soft. If you keep that up, if you think God is soft, or you think God is only contained in a book and He is not much more powerful than that, I'm gonna back away. I'm gonna turn around. I don't want to see what happens. And when I turn back around, whatever happens to you, if God says go pick that person up and make sure you nurse them back to health, cool. I'll be more than happy to do it. But you guys need to stop turning women like her into non-believers. I'm gonna be honest. I hear people say they're spiritual so often. Deep down, I know what time it is. You're honestly a non-believer, but it's not your fault that it's to a degree. It's not your fault you're a non-believer because there's two sides to that story. On the first half, you had a wolf who wanted to misuse you to trap you with the Bible and trap you with God's words into doing what He wants to do, or probably something that's not even biblically supported in full context. And like I said, Bo said that is literal. Go get a rope, get tied to a milestone, which is a big boulder. Go to the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean or where I'm at, the Gulf of Mexico, especially that flesh-eating bacterial water of the Gulf of Mexico. Go jump, because that's probably the best. That's a best idea. That's the best scenario possible versus you facing God's wrath. You keep thinking. Forgive me for saying this. You keep thinking God's pussy, something bad is gonna happen, and just be here. I'm gonna say it, you was warned. Stop thinking God is a punk.
I mean, and again, that's the ignorance, the willful ignorance of someone, right? Because God destroyed the earth. Mm-hmm. He can't be that much of a punk, So, if they want to play, again, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Right.
So if they want to play, listen, our job as believers is not to convert nobody. I can't convert you. My job is to do my best to rightfully distribute this word and mark you. That's my job. Scripture says one man planteth, another man worth, but it's God that gives the increase. It's God that converts you. It's God that saves you. My job is to mark you, period. Once I mark you, I keep it pushing. Everyone has, when Christ came in that new covenant that we're under, everyone has a connection, a direct connection to Christ. You don't need the Levites no more. You don't need the high priests no more. That's been done away with. So at the end of the day, you don't need to use my bat phone to get in contact with Christ. You have your own. Mm-hmm. Now, if you choose not to use it, which is cool, it's your decision. Don't get it twisted. The Lord tells you, those that deny me, I will deny them. So this is a willing choice that you are choosing to make, and it's on you. So don't blame nobody else. Look in the mirror. Again, it's easy to blame someone else, and it's easy not to take accountability for what you do.
Right. And with that, the principle and value system is real simple, ladies and gentlemen. We understand you are a victim. We acknowledge that. What I'm saying next is out of love. Stop bleeding on the innocent man with your open wounds, for being an active victim will not heal you. Let me say it again. Stop bleeding on the innocent man with your open wounds, for being a victim will not heal you. It's time to go to the hospital, go see a doctor, and close that wound of yours. It has been bleeding for 5 years. It has been bleeding for 10 years, 15, 20, 30, 50, 70 years. And I talk to people almost on a regular basis regarding how somebody that took an oath to God misused them. And I told them, I acknowledge what you say, and I empathize with you. And I will tell them, my line is always open. You need to talk about it. If you want to get something off your chest regarding it, I am right here. You can have both of my ears. We can talk, but be advised. I want you to get it off your chest, because we're going to move forward, and I'm gonna see to it one way or well. If they're willing to, I'm gonna see to it that I can give you the right tools that you need to protect yourself moving forward. And if I don't have the answer, I'm always good to go get the answer for somebody else, or get you in contact with somebody else to make sure that you're going on the right path. I do not want people to remain victims, but I can only go so far. I can meet you halfway. You have to help me help you, and take care of the other half. So again, ladies and gentlemen, stop bleeding on the innocent man with your open wounds, for being a victim will not heal you. And I say that out of love.
All of it's out of love.
Yes. 100% out of love. It's okay not to be. It's okay to be the victor. It's okay in 2025 to be the victor instead of a victim.
Let me say this before I dip set.
Yes, sir.
There was a blacksmith. And a woman walked up to this blacksmith and asked him, "When do you know when to pull the metal out of the fire?" And he said, "Well, listen, man, it's an easy explanation. You take this piece of metal, you take this gold or silver, you put it into the hottest of fire, you put it in the middle. If you leave this piece of gold or silver in the fire too long, you burn it. If you leave it too short, it still comes out with impurities." So the lady said, "Well, how do you know?" He says, "Well, you have to bang it and mold it into the shape that you want." But then she said, "Well, how do you know when to pull it out?" And he says, "When I can see my reflection in it." So we are in the furnace of affliction, and the Lord is molding us into what he needs us specifically, each man, each woman, what he needs us to be. And when does that tempering stops? When he sees his reflection in us. Till then, don't be tired of the correction. Don't be tired of the falling. Don't be tired of the slipping. And this is why the Lord calls us to come and build with one another, right? "Forsake ye not the assembly of one another," so that we can build each other up, right? That's what the Lord says. Build one another up with meekness, right? So, when I fall, I'm gonna call my man Chris, "Yo, bro, listen, such and such," and he gonna build me up. And this is what we're supposed to do for one another, right?
Yes,
We all we got. But Jay, thank you for having me, my G. I appreciate you, brother, man.
I appreciate you, man. You can come back anytime.
No doubt. You have a blessed night, baby.
Yes, sir. You too.
Later,
man. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bolo TV, and This has been a great show. We finna and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, just stop bleeding. It's okay to be a victor instead of a victim. Let me say that again. It's okay to be the victor instead of the victim. But whenever you're ready, we are right here. Whenever you're ready to start the road of winning again, we are going to be here because we do this out of love. Okay.